What up, homies? It's your boy Stev, and welcome to the bracket. Back in 2020, like most of the world, me and Ash didn't have a lot going on, so we decided to make a list of the 130 greatest movies of all time and pit them against each other, tournament style, to see which ones came out on top. We judged them against each other in 5 categories: production, writing, acting, originality, and rewatchability. Whichever movie took the most categories moved on. Don't get me wrong, it was rarely unanimous between us, but it was always a lot of fun. Just a heads up, we did record these a few years ago, so if the timeline feels a bit weird, that's why. If you want to check out the list of the 130 movies, I'll put a link to our website in the description below. So without further ado, let's all go back to the land of 2020, where all we did was sit at home, drink excessively, and watch flicks. Enjoy. All right. We're going to do Silence of the Lambs versus Blade Runner.
Yay. Yay. Yeah, the greatest movie ever. Yeah. It's awesome. I love Blade Runner. It's great. I can rewatch it tomorrow. In the garbage.
So, initial thoughts.
Of the 2 movies?
Sure.
I'm just trying to talk as much about Silence of the Lambs as I can. I don't get the pairing with the 2. I don't understand why you put them in the same category.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
The reason why I actually thought this was a very clever pairing is because I thought even though one takes place in the 90s and one takes place in the near future, they're both thematically very similar. They're both about police officers who interrogate people and they have to catch one big bad, and they have to interrogate people to find this one big bad. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Whereas Jodie Foster has to repeatedly interrogate, or not interrogate, but I guess...
Yeah, trick them and...
talk to Hannibal Lecter to find Buffalo Bill. Harrison Ford is constantly interrogating people to find out if they're a replicant or not. And the idea is he has to find these replicants to find the big bad replicant, Roy Batty.
Which is what the little... If you found a turtle in the desert...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why I find those so interesting. Those,
the one chick
questions.
was hilarious. He was like, if you find a turtle in the desert, what would you do? She's like, I'd kill it. I was like, holy fuck.
Oh,
okay. Don't help it or anything. Okay.
I've always been weirdly fascinated with
By the way, this is a no spoiler one. I didn't spoil anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
if you thought
right
that was a spoil.
It's right off the bat.
Okay.
I've always found questions like that interesting, like question and answer, I guess meetings.
Okay.
Like that, or interviews, I guess. Very interesting. I was watching a show recently called Tool to Die Young, and they did something similar where it was like, say you saw a kid and a butterfly went onto his face, and he took the butterfly off and ripped its wings off, and then let it lay on the ground.
I'd kill the kid.
And then well, first of all, whoa.
Don't hurt a fucking Barnard. What's wrong with you?
That's part 1 of the question.
They're so beautiful. Sorry, I'm not a sociopath. Continue.
And then, so saw the kid do that, and then another butterfly flew in his face. What would you do? And then that's the question. It's like, and the guy in the show says, I'd let him kill the second butterfly. And then she's like, why? And he's like, because that's nature. That's nature. It's the way it is. Like, bigger things kill little things. It's just like, but it's like, I find psychological questions like that super interesting. And I found both of these movies followed that same pattern of psychological evaluation to find a big bad. And in my opinion, both of these bads are big.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I thought it was a clever pairing, personally.
I keep laughing. I have to get this off my chest. It's nothing to do with the movies. Someone said, if you were born 10 years ago, how old would you be? It's the best thing ever. Everyone gets so mad. They're like, I'm 30, so I be 20. And they're like, no, if you were born 10 years ago, are you kidding me? Do you know what 20 minus 10 is? And they argue. And it's like the best thing ever. Sorry, I'm laughing. Oh my God. I don't know what made me think of that. It was so funny. You'd be 10, by the way. The answer is 10. Stop putting your age minus 10. Yeah. I completely see what you're saying. To me, Blade Runner did not own up as much as Silence of the Lambs did. Silence of the Lambs, to me, I was intrigued from the beginning to the end. Mm-hmm. I really, really enjoyed it. And then Blade Runner, it immediately threw me off, and I just didn't like the whole thing. The main character is an idiot. I just don't like the whole movie. Not Harrison, the chick with the hair and the airbrush eyes.
Oh, you're talking about Terry Hanlon's character.
Sure. She needs to go to bed somewhere.
It's Elle Driver from Kill Bill, with one eye.
Oh, I never thought of that. Okay, I made it a little better, but not much better.
Okay, well, what did you think of the villain, Roy Batty, in Blade Runner?
I don't really have much of an opinion, really. He was okay. Like, the acting was good. Is that what you mean?
Sure.
The acting was good. Him as a villain, he didn't really, like... The ending was a little ridiculous.
Okay. Spoiler free.
We'll
get back to this later.
No, I'm not really spoiling anything.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just because, like... The way, okay, no, we're just going to skip to the next one.
We'll come back, okay.
Because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not.
Right,
I don't want to ruin it.
We'll come back to the video. Okay.
But the movie was too out there for me. So the movie takes place in the year 2019, which I think right now is hilarious.
Yeah.
And the way they portrayed 2019 is what's throwing me off. So, like, the flying cars and just the way the world it looks, and the whole movie just kind of turned me off because it's, like, unrealistic.
Okay, we'll say it didn't take place in 2019. Would that be better?
I just don't like sci-fis, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think I like that whole, like, flying cars, this, and we have this, and it's like, no, like, it's ridiculous to me.
But, okay, see, it's true. Okay, I can agree with that. See, I personally like sci-fi flicks, which is why I probably like this movie more than yourself. And I love how dirty everything looks. Everything looks so grimy.
Yeah, it's very, very dark, eh? Yeah, very dark gray and blues.
I love that. It has almost like an Escape from New York kind of feel. Yeah. It's like everything's just gross. And
there's a lot of garbage in the streets and stuff. I know what you're saying.
And I love that. I think Harrison Ford's fantastic in it. It's one of his great roles. Like, he has probably 4 spectacular movie roles. And he's a great actor and all, but, like, I personally think he's very, very, very good in this movie. But I mean, but countering that, Jodie Foster is also spectacular.
Dude, I love that. By the way, let's have a funny laugh with Silence of the Lambs. I've never seen it before until, fun fact, I actually have only seen, I think I said 17 of these movies in this list. So there's a lot of movies I haven't seen. And I was watching it, and I didn't know there was that, Jay and Silent Bob skit was off of it. Yeah. And he's looking in the mirror and he's like, would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. And I'm like, that's from this movie? I thought that was just Jay being stupid. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I never knew that was from the movie.
Okay. You want to rank it?
I think it's pretty obvious. Blade Runner.
So you got, okay, so 5 for 5? Like,
yeah, 5 for 5, Silence of the Lambs. I loved it.
Of your 5 points, all of them go to Silence of the
Lambs.
I loved
it. I can rewatch it. I loved everything about it. Jodie Foster was amazing. I love her voice. It could put me to sleep. I love Hannibal Lecter. He was fantastic.
So good. There's a lot of scenes in that movie where, like, people are just staring into the camera. They're, like, talking to each other. Right. But, like, they're just staring.
Jodie and him do that a lot. Yeah.
And there's a scene at the very end. Sorry, it's not what I'm going to say isn't a spoiler, but they're, like, trying to figure it out. And it's 2 girls. And they're just staring into the camera. And they're like, she says something, and then she says something. It's so interestingly filmed. It's like Jonathan Demme, I believe, was the person.
I know exactly what scene you're talking about, yeah. That is an interesting way. Instead of having both characters in the room or in the frame at the same time. Yeah.
It's not an over the shoulder. Right. It's not like, it's just weirdly.
Because they really don't do that anymore in the movies anymore.
No, it's very interesting. This movie won Best Picture at the Oscars.
It actually won the Big 5, didn't it?
Did it win the Big 5?
I'm pretty sure it did.
No shit, what did it win? So she win best.
Yeah, I am right. So it did Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Director, and Screenplay.
No shit. That's
Unless my is wrong.
you're
It
probably
is
correct.
one of only 3 that have ever won the Big Five at this time.
Yeah.
And and it was third
That's
ever in
fantastic.
history.
And here's the thing, horror movies don't get a lot of love from the Academy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so, and here's the thing, like, audiences around the world fucking love horror movies. It's one of those, like, fantastic itches to scratch. But, like, yeah, the Academy doesn't really get, so much so that, like, it has to be called a thriller.
Right.
It can't be called a horror movie. Silence of the Lambs is a thriller, which I'm of the opinion it's a horror movie, and I fucking love that it won Best
I
Picture.
think it's a horror movie.
I think it's a horror movie, too. So, it's like when
Well,
Get Out...
back for its time, though, is it a thriller? Because right now we're getting a little twisted and disgusting with our thrillers.
Oh, you're talking about, like, yeah.
I
torture
think
porn
that's
and
why
stuff,
we
yeah.
think it's a horror movie instead of a thriller.
But even going as far as, like, Get Out came out a couple years ago, and that's referred to as a social thriller. It's not a horror movie, which I think it's a fucking spectacular horror movie that should be proud of the fact that it's a horror movie. And maybe it is. I'm not...
What's a social? What does that mean?
Maybe it's like a social... Maybe it's a political thriller. No, because that's...
What does that mean?
Because it has to... It deals with... It's a thriller that deals with social themes. Oh. Like race or class or anything. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, so it's like a new term that was kind of created around that movie, and the same thing kind of happened with Silence of the Lambs when it came out, which is like, it's not a horror movie, it's a thriller. It's like, you know what I mean? So,
oh, I see what you're saying.
So
you have to, because to be fair though, Get Out doesn't fit in any box. That was the most weirdest movie of its time.
It's so good though.
Yeah, a few years ago, everyone was just so like, what? What else did that was a Bird Box?
Yeah.
Bird Box really confused people for that because they don't know what
Like,
category do you put it in?
What is this movie? Yeah.
But anyways, off topic. So yeah, Silence Lands for me. Just
the
like
board.
the Big Five, they got my 5.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, my ranking, here's the thing. Blade Runner definitely would have taken 3 out of the 5, but I gotta give Silence of the Lambs, like, acting, I gotta give it, do you know what I mean? Technical.
Right.
So, like, even writing. So, like, maybe even Silence of the Lambs says 3 out of the 5. So, no matter what, Silence of the Lambs.
But you thought it was that close.
It was close. I really, really like Blade Runner. I think it's a spectacularly made movie. I think of its time, it's something special.
I think that's what else was killing me was he would know this. I hate old movies, man. I can't watch Star Wars because it's so old that now it just drives me nuts. I hate it.
Well, that's the problem, right? At some point in cinema history, everything became faster. It was all about pace. Like, you got to be fast. You got to be like, you know what I mean? Like, when you watch old zombie movies, they're all slow. When you watch newer zombie movies, they're literally fast. Like, it's just like, You know what I mean? Like, it's just everything. I don't know. It's like, and a lot of directors didn't know how to get over that hump. How, like, they did it a particular way back in, like, the 70s or the 80s. And all of a sudden the 90s come along and it's, like, fresh and, like, everything's got to be, short and to the point. And a lot of people didn't know how to do that. So I could see why you growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, why you would respect a movie that's more like that than a movie from the 50s, 60s, or 70s.
Or it could just be the movie sucks. Which is probably it. But okay. The movie's fucking terrible, everybody. But okay. He gave it 2 stars.
Up next, spoiler section! Spoilers.
All right.
Spoilers.
We're on the spoiler part?
Yeah.
You know what really killed me was that he was a lot more super powered. So in the ending, he was chasing Harrison Ford, and he would like punch through walls and punch through, and that killed me.
He's a robot, though.
I'm like, dude, fuck off. I know, I understand that, but it was unrealistic at that point.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from.
Wasn't Harrison Ford a robot too?
Okay, no. I don't get who the fuck started this, okay?
It's like one of those like...
yeah, those like fan theories.
Yeah.
First of all, I've never understood why that started.
Oh.
A lot of people have said like, straight up. No, he's got to be replicant. And there's like several different versions of this movie, like some different cuts. There's a director's cut, a final cut.
I heard that.
And there's like one of them has narration and I watched them
direct, right?
Yeah. And like people say that like in one of the cuts, he like clearly states that he's a replicant. Here's the thing.
Apparently, there's like a sentence that he said.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We could say all he want. Everybody can say all they want that he's a replicant. They could like theorize that. Blade Runner 2 came out like 3 years ago.
Okay.
They straight up say he's a human in that movie. And it's like, okay, so what Blade Runner 2 is about is...
Oh, God, they made 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The second one's equally as good.
Yeah! Okay.
So what the second one's about is him and the girl run off together at the end, and they end up having a kid because she's like...
But she's a replicant.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, I'm trying to remember. I've only seen the movie once, but, like, I want to say the guy who created her, he keeps referring to her as special. She's special. And I think the reason why I keep saying that is because he actually gave her, like, a womb, like a...
Okay.
Reproductive organs, right? So they actually have a kid. So the kid eventually is introduced, and they say half replicant, half human. Now, she is 100% a replicant. Therefore, if Harrison Ford is the father in this equation,
okay,
must be a human. There's no argument, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
Unless the baby is not his.
But
that's for... Stay tuned for conspiracy podcast. Yeah.
No, if you look at minute 47, she gives the doctor a glance.
Yeah.
Suggests.
You look in her eyes and you zoom in enough. No, really though, like I have nothing really to say to that.
Okay.
I'm just reading what I read, and
Here's the thing. Okay, I really, really like the villain of Blade Runner. I think he is really... I think his motives are super interesting.
He looks like the villain from the Bad Boyfriends. Who has to do the vegan one.
What?
Scott Pilgrim. The vegan boyfriend.
Brandon
with the hair straight up. Yeah. Anyways,
he does. Okay. No,
sorry.
So here's... he actually does. For the record.
How did you not get that from vegan boyfriend? Come on, Steve. Okay, go on.
I love his motivation, personally. For those who didn't watch the movie very closely...
Like me, okay.
Yeah, his motivation is... when all of these replicants are built, they're only given a 3-year lifespan.
Okay.
Because the human brain can only develop so much in 3 years. And they want you to be submissive and obey. Because after so many years, you start to become rebellious. Right? So they only give you like a so many year lifespan.
Okay.
Well, his brain, for some reason, he was like a genius. He was like... a prodigy. Like he just like was born, and then like within 2 years his brain was that of like several decades instead of several years, right? So he fully understood what was going to happen after the 3-year cycle. He's like, I only have so long. So his motivation is, I have to find the person who created me to get a longer life,
which he did because they were playing chess in that scene.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, right? And I like, you gotta love, like, as is that really that? I don't even really think he's that bad a guy. Like, what does he do? I guess, does he kill people?
That's what I'm thinking.
He does kill a few people, but like, I
wouldn't call him like a bad guy though.
No, I fully understand his motivation. He just wants to live.
Right.
He wants to be human. Like, what's so bad about that, right? And then, like, his last monologue, which was completely improvised, apparently. He, maybe not completely improvised, but he read the script. It was like, I could make a better monologue. And he wrote his monologue, like, I think the night before, like, on the set or something, and blew people's socks off. It's one of the greatest monologues in film history, with the tears in the rain, like...
At the very, very end?
Yeah, where he's, like, dying, because, like, his years are up, and, like... I think it's a spectacular ending. I love it. Every time I watch it, I want to cry. Like,
because he helps Harrison Ford
out. He does, because it's like... And that's the thing, right? It's like that one moment where...
That's what I'm trying to understand is why he's trying to kill Harrison Ford and then just...
Because he doesn't need to kill Harrison. Okay, it gets to the point where he realizes he's not going to win. Right? And then he's just like, well, I have so long left. I don't have much longer, so I might as well just fuck with this guy. But there's no point in killing him. Doesn't... You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I can see why he's not a bad guy and why he would help Harrison up. And yeah. I understand. I get it.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Buffalo Bill is a bad person.
He's a bad person.
Even Anthony Hopkins' character is a really bad person. Yeah. Like, there's nothing good about him. Like, even Anthony Hopkins, like, I love that she finally reveals to him that the lambs kept her up at night and she was trying to, like, save them.
Right.
And
I love the ending, and he's like, did you silence the lambs?
Okay, no, I like the fact that as soon as that's over, he requests a final dinner, and he requests rare lamb.
Oh.
It's like, how fucked is that?
That's hilarious.
It's like, oh, buddy. And then, like, that's actually, speaking of good endings, okay, it's actually funny. Should we talk about Silence of the Lambs ending?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give myself an audio break. It's funny, watching Silence of the Lambs years ago, I actually recall because there's definitely two endings to this movie. There's the Buffalo Bill ending, where she goes and takes out Buffalo Bill, and then there's the ending where Anthony Hopkins escapes from the sanitarium, from the mentals, from
Oh, you're jail. Not saying like two different movie endings.
No.
But you're talking about there's two endings happening in one movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like there's one ending and then there's a second ending.
There is.
I don't know why I always thought the Anthony Hopkins ending was last. I always thought that was the end of the movie. So
what a bitch.
Flamingo loving bitch.
Flamingo loving friends watching fucking Accent Wall, bitch. Fuzzy blanket, bitch. Okay.
My wife, everybody.
We love her, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's the thing. Like, I always, for some reason, thought the Anthony Hopkins scene was the finale. Like, I thought they took down Buffalo Bill first. In my opinion, like, just, like structurally, it makes more sense in a script to have them take down Buffalo Bill, and then it turns out, oh, wait a second, Anthony Hopkins is the villain of this movie. Like, that just makes more sense to me.
I actually want to, like, say something. I actually thought that's how the movie ended. You're actually kind of... and I just watched it like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I watched it this afternoon and like...
I thought Buddy got out last.
No, he gets
That's
out.
That's so funny that I remember it.
Yeah, doesn't it make more sense that way? He gets out, and then he gets away, and then the girl's like, okay, well, I'm on my own now. I have to find Buffalo Bill. And then she accidentally finds... I mean, she doesn't accidentally... She figures it out. She, like, figures it out. But, like... They think he's somewhere else, and they go to take him down, which is a great misdirection scene, actually.
I did not expect that.
And they're, like, ringing the bell, and then he's like, who the fuck's ringing my bell? And then he, like, opens it, and it's her. It's like, oh, shit. I thought that was... And it's a great ending. And here's the thing. I don't know, like, where the fuck this house is, but the basement is massive, right? Is it just me? She's, like, going in, and there's, like...
Yeah, and it's, like, 4 different rooms.
Yeah, it turns into a fucking warehouse down there. She's like, where am I? And then there's, like, a well, like... And it's the creep... And there's, like, fucking 5 bathrooms down there, apparently. And there's, like, one bathroom... He has so many bathrooms that he has, like, an old woman chilling in one, and probably doesn't even fucking...
bathtub? Yeah. That was gross, yeah.
It's fucked up. Again, this is a horror movie. I don't give a fuck. Like, this is a horror movie, right?
It is.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I find it very funny that I thought the Anthony Hopkins scene was the very end, but it does make sense because it's one of his best lines in the whole movie when, after she finds Buffalo Bill and like she's getting congratulated and she's at that party and then she gets a call from Hannibal Lecter. And then he's like, hey, I just wanted to say, I heard you caught Buffalo Bill, like, good for you.
Did you silence the lambs?
Yeah, did you silence the lambs? And she's like, yes. And then he's like, I'd love to stay and chat, but I'm having a friend over for dinner.
So what is that about?
Oh, he's gonna eat that guy.
Yeah, okay.
But it's the
Who is it?
It's the prison warden, the guy who is it a prison or a sanitary? I don't. Is it a prison or a mental institution? I'm not really sure. that he's at,
I
actually.
don't know either.
I don't remember.
I think it's just a mental...
I literally watched this fucking afternoon.
I think it's just a mental institution,
I thought it was a mental institution either, but the more I think about it, the more I think it's a prison. But it doesn't matter. The place in which he's confined, I don't know if he's like some sort of manager, but I feel like he's the warden. The guy
Was he the guy downstairs who like opened the gate for her, and he's like, it's on the gate in the far left?
Yeah, the one who was like, no, the guy who said, we're like enemies. The two of us are each other's rivals. That guy. He's like, we're natural enemies. And then when he finally told him who Buffalo Bill was, but it was like, it wasn't the right information. He was the one that was on the news that was like, yeah, I figured it out. I knew he would tell me. Blah, blah.
Right.
That guy. Like the kind of arrogant asshole character. Him. He's the guy that's getting off a plane, which looks like he's like in like some foreign country or something. But
he looks like he's in that wall because it's because of Hannibal's hat, I guess, right? He gets off the sun hat.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
I don't know.
I thought that was him escaping, but I guess there's a scene that I'm forgetting where they find out he escapes before that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well, they find out he escapes, and then they're like, oh, yeah, they found the ambulance in a car park, and everybody was dead.
Right!
And then he killed a tourist.
I got it now. Yeah. Because he had the buddy's face on him in the ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did escape. You're right. Yeah. No. So the movie is right in my head. It is chronologically perfect. It's because I thought you meant him in Mexico or whatever was before.
No.
That's why I'm like, what? In my head.
I'm talking about more just that escape scene. I always, for some reason...
No, that was definitely before. 100%. Him in the elevator and stuff. Yeah, that was before.
Cool. So, anything else you wanted to talk about? Silence of the Lambs? Blade Runner?
Blade Runner sucks. Silence of the Lambs was great. That's it.
That's the last time we're talking about anything with blades or runners.
Please stop with blades or runners. By the way, very quickly, just because this is hilarious, when I read Blade Runner, I thought it was Blade. So I'm like, that's a really weird, like, vampires. Okay, sure, why
Best
not?
movie ever. Okay, I
Sure,
guess. It's got
why
Wesley
not?
Snipes in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
And I
good.
thought it was, and then the movie started. I'm like, this isn't Blade. What is this? Harrison Ford. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Sure, why not? I'll listen to the list, sure. But yeah, I thought, for a first time watching it, I honestly thought Silence of the Lambs was perfect. That was a fantastic movie.
Good.
It intrigued me from the very beginning to the end. I loved everything about it. It deserved the Big 5.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. That's all I got. See you around.
Bye.